You were born a Dalit in India, and this is your entire life. Before you take your first breath, your life has already been decided. Not by God, not by luck, not by anything you did or didn't do. By a word. A single word that your family carries like a scar they were born with, and their parents before them, and their parents before that, stretching back so far that no one alive remembers a time before it. The word is caste, and yours is the lowest there is. This is your life, and it begins the way most things in India begin, with heat, with noise, and with no one asking what you wanted. You were born in the winter of 1993 in a government hospital in a small district town in Uttar Pradesh. Your father is a chamar. That is the subcaste under the broader category of scheduled caste, which the Constitution calls it, which the government forms call it, which your father never says out loud if he can help it. What your father actually does for a living is mend shoes. He has a small wooden box of tools and a spot on the pavement near the bus stand where he sits every morning and fixes what other people have broken. He is good at it. He is precise and careful and charges less than he should. Your mother gives birth to you in a ward where the sheets are stained and the ceiling fan makes a sound like something is loose inside it. The nurse who wraps you does not look your mother in the eye. Your mother notices. She always notices. But she says nothing, because saying something costs more than silence. And she has learned over 31 years of being alive in this body, in this caste, in this town, that the cost of speaking is almost always paid by the person who speaks. You come home to a 2-room house in the part of the colony that is, without anyone having to say it, the Dalit part. The lanes are narrower here. The drainage is worse. The houses sit closer together, as if they have been pressed inward by invisible hands. The temple at the top of the lane has a sign on it that no one put there officially, and no one has ever taken down. It is simply understood, in the way that all the cruelest things are understood, that you do not go in. Your earliest memory is your father's hands. Large, dark, cracked at the knuckles from the work and the weather. He holds your hand when you cross the road. He holds it carefully, like something valuable. You are 4 years old, and you don't understand yet what it costs him to hold it that way, with so much tenderness, in a world that has never offered him any back. 1999. You are 6. Your mother enrolls you in the government primary school at the end of the lane. She has pressed your uniform herself, though the iron is old and leaves a slight scorch smell on the collar. She walks you to the gate. She stands there until you go inside. Years later, you'll understand what she was thinking. Whether this was a door or a wall dressed up as a door. The classroom has 60 children in it and one teacher who comes 3 days out of 5. On the day she doesn't come, the older children are supposed to watch the younger ones. Mostly what happens is noise. You sit in the second to last row, not the last. You learn quickly by watching that the last row is where the teacher looks when she wants someone to blame for something. There is a boy named Ravi who sits in the front. His father is an upper caste landlord's son. Ravi has a new pencil box and shoes that are clean. He doesn't do anything to you at first. He just looks at you the way people look at things they've been told are lesser. Not with hatred, exactly. With a kind of casual dismissal that is somehow worse than hatred, because it doesn't even require effort. You are 7 years old the first time you understand that someone is looking at you like that. And you don't have a word for it yet, but you feel it in your chest. A pressure. something between shame and a very old anger.
Your father has a friend, Uncle Suresh, who comes sometimes on evenings to sit outside and talk. He is also Chamar, also from this lane. He did something unusual. He finished school, all 12 years. He tells your father that the Constitution gives you rights, that there are reservations, quota seats at colleges and government jobs for scheduled castes, that this was Dr. Ambedkar's gift. Your father nods when Uncle Suresh talks. He nods the way people nod when they have heard something true and aren't sure if they're allowed to believe it yet. But something takes hold in you, listening from the doorway. Ambedkar. You file the name away. 2003. You are 10. A teacher at school, a man named Pandiji, gives you a look the day your test score comes back. You got the highest marks in the class. It is not a kind look. It is the look of a man recalculating something he thought he already understood. He says nothing. He hands the paper back without comment. But the boy next to you, whose family is OBC, other backward class, still above you in the hierarchy, leans over and whispers something that you will not repeat, even now, because some words are designed to be weapons, and repeating them gives them more life. You go home, and you sit outside on the step, and you don't cry. You think about Ambedkar instead. You think about what Uncle Suresh said about education. And you think, with a clarity that surprises you given you are 10 years old, I am going to be the best student this school has ever seen. Not to impress anyone, not to prove anything to Pandeyji, but because it is the one thing no one can take from you once you have it. That night, your father asks how school was. You say, fine. He nods. He goes back to eating. And in the silence between you, something passes. A kind of understanding that neither of you has words for, about what it costs to go out into this world every day, wearing this name, and come home still whole. 2005. You are 12, and you discover books beyond the textbooks. The school library has a small shelf in the corner with books that look like no one has touched them in years. You start taking one home every week. You read about Ambedkar, his actual life, not just the name. Born a Mahar, the lowest of the low, in 1891. Treated worse than animals by people who had simply decided, because it was convenient to decide, that he was less than human. And yet he became a lawyer, a scholar. He wrote the Constitution of India. He gave you, by name, in law, the rights you were told you never deserved. You read about him, and something shifts permanently in your chest. Not hope, exactly. Something harder than hope. Something that doesn't go away when things get difficult. 2007. You are 14. Your father falls ill. Not dramatically. No single collapse, no emergency, but slowly, the way men who work in cold and heat and never rest fall ill. His knees first, then a cough that doesn't leave after winter ends. The money gets tighter. Your mother takes on washing clothes for 3 families in the upper caste part of the colony. She leaves before dawn. She comes back after dark. She never complains in front of you. But one night you hear her crying in the back room, very quietly, with the door almost closed. You stand in the corridor and don't go in, because you understand already that this is her one private place, and you will not take it from her. You study harder. 2010. You are 17.
The board exams are coming. In this system, the marks you get in Class 10 determine nearly everything. Which school will take you for Class 11 and 12, which path opens, which path closes. You prepare alone, mostly, because the coaching classes cost money you don't have. You borrow notes, you read by the single bulb in the front room after your parents sleep. You sleep 4, sometimes 3 hours. Your score comes back 91%. In your district, it places you in the top few students that year. The local newspaper, a small regional paper, prints a brief item about it. A neighbor brings the paper over. Your mother holds it and stares at it for a long time. Your father is at his spot near the bus stand. She walks there to show him. You watch from the window, him reading it slowly, with the concentration he uses for things that matter. His face doesn't change much, but he folds the paper very carefully and puts it in his shirt pocket. You understand.
But here is the thing about success when you are a Dalit in a small town in Uttar Pradesh. It does not arrive clean. The school principal who shook your hand in the ceremony was the same man who 3 years earlier told your mother that students from your background struggle to keep up. He gives the same hand to the same boy, and the hand doesn't know what the mouth has said. 2011. You apply for colleges. You qualify for the SC reservation quota at a government engineering college in Allahabad. The college is not IIT, but it is real, and it is far from this town. And when the letter comes, you sit with it for a very long time, alone in the front room, in the dark. Not reading it anymore because you've already memorized it. Just holding it. The night before you leave, your father sits with you outside on the step, the same step where you sat at 10 years old, deciding to be the best student in the school. He doesn't say much. He says, "Don't tell them unless you have to." You know what he means. Don't tell them what caste you are unless you are forced to, because knowledge of that word changes the air in a room. You know this already. You have known it your whole life. 2012. The hostel room has 3 other boys. You share a ceiling fan and a bathroom and a silence that takes months to warm into conversation. 2 of them are upper caste, from cities, with laptops their parents bought them. One is OBC, from a village not unlike yours. He is the one who asks, carefully on the 3rd week, what your surname is. You tell him. His face does something complicated. Then he nods and goes back to his book. And later that evening, he offers you half his dinner from home that his mother had packed and couriered. You don't know what to do with this kindness. You accept it. But in the department, in the classrooms, in the labs, the other thing is always there, waiting. A comment here, a joke there, quota students dragging down the curve. A professor who gives you a C on a paper and gives the boy next to you who wrote something nearly identical a B+. You go to the professor's office during office hours. He is busy. He is always busy when it's you. You learn a particular kind of endurance. Not the endurance of patience, which is passive. The endurance of continuing to show up even when the room has made clear it didn't want you there. Showing up again and again and again. 2013. You are 20 and you find a community. Other SC and ST students who gather on Thursday evenings in a corner of the mess hall. They have names and stories and surnames that carry the same weight as yours. For the first time in your life,
You sit in a room where no one looks at your name and recalculates. It is so simple. It is the most disorienting relief you have ever felt. One of them is a girl named Kavitha. She is from Tamil Nadu, also scheduled caste. Her family are agricultural laborers, and she has more fire in her than anyone you have ever met. She argues with professors in the front row. She files complaints that go nowhere and files them again. She becomes your closest friend over the course of a year, in the way that only happens when two people recognize in each other the same particular fatigue of carrying the same weight in different shapes.
You do not tell your parents about Kavitha, not because you are ashamed, because you understand at 20 that love across state lines and same caste boundaries is its own kind of complicated. And your parents have enough weight already without adding yours.
2016. You graduate. You have a degree. The first person in your family's history on either side, going back as far as anyone can remember, to have a degree. Your father closes his spot near the bus stand for the day and takes a bus 4 hours to attend the ceremony. He wears the same light blue shirt your grandfather left him. He sits in the back because the reserved seating runs out before he gets there. When you cross the stage, you look for him in the crowd. You find him. His face is absolutely still. Then he nods, once, and looks away. And you understand that he is trying not to cry in a room full of strangers.
You get a job at a small IT company in Bangalore. The salary is decent, not what the IIT graduates are getting. You know this. Everyone knows this. The hierarchy of which college you went to shadows you into every interview room. But it is yours. You move to Bangalore. You share a flat with two others in Bomanahalli. Kavita is in Chennai now, at a different company. You text too much and call on weekends. The distance does what distance does. It clarifies, slowly, what is real and what was just proximity. In Bangalore, no one knows what you are. For the first time in your life, your name is just a name. You are just a software developer, a person on the metro, a face in a crowd that asks nothing of you. It should feel like freedom. Sometimes it does. But sometimes the anonymity feels like disappearing, like you have walked away from something heavy and find that your body has forgotten how to move without the weight. You call your father on Sundays. You listen to the sound of the bus stand in the background, faint and familiar. 2018. You are 25. You visit home for Diwali. The lane is the same. Your father's hands are the same, though slower now, the knuckles more swollen. Your mother makes the same doll. You sit in the front room that seems smaller every time, and you look at the walls, and you feel something layered and impossible to name. Gratitude and grief and guilt, all pressed into the same moment. Your cousin's daughter has started school. She is 6, bright-eyed, not yet old enough to know what her surname means in that classroom. You watch her run down the lane, and you think about the boy named Ravi with the clean shoes. And you think, she will meet a Ravi too. And you can't stop that. But maybe, by the time she's 10, she will know Ambedkar's name before she knows the weight of her own. 2020. The pandemic comes. Your office closes. You work from the flat, alone, for months. The news fills with images of migrant workers walking home, hundreds of kilometers on foot, no transport, no money,
nowhere to go. Many of them are Dalit. Many of them are from places like your lane. You watch the footage on your laptop and you feel something tear open in you that you don't have a name for. You call your father. He picks up on the second ring. You talk for an hour about nothing in particular. It is the longest call you've ever had. Kavitha gets married in 2021. Same caste, chosen by her and her family together. A quiet ceremony in Sinai. You attend via video call, watching on your phone from your flat in Bangalore, a cup of tea going cold in your hand. She looks completely herself, which is the best thing you can say about anyone on their wedding day. 2023. You are 30. You have changed companies twice. You earn enough to send money home every month. Your father stopped working the pavement spot 2 years ago. His knees don't allow it, and your salary covers the difference. He fills the time now by reading. He reads the newspaper from front to back every morning. He found a copy of Ambedkar's writings at the second-hand bookstall near the bus stand. He is working through it slowly, in the evenings, with his glasses on and the lamp angled just right. You called him when you found out. You said, "What do you think?" He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I think I should have read this 30 years ago." And you didn't know what to say to that. So you just stayed on the line and let the silence be what it was. You are still in Bangalore. You are still sending code into the world, small pieces of logic that work the way you designed them to work, indifferent to your surname, to your lane, to the pavement spot by the bus stand, to everything the world decided about you before you could speak. You have learned to live in two places at once: the person you are in this city and the person you come from. Most days, you carry both without dropping either. But some nights, not often, not dramatically, you sit at your desk in the blue-white light of the screen and you think about that nurse in the hospital who wouldn't look your mother in the eye. You think about Pandeyji's face when he handed back the test. You think about your father folding the newspaper and putting it in his shirt pocket. You think about a little girl running down a lane toward a school that may or may not be ready for her. And you feel the full weight of what you were handed at birth and the full weight of what you chose to do with it anyway. It doesn't make you a hero. It just makes you a person. And after 30 years, in a country that tried its best to convince you otherwise, that is more than enough. If you want to learn more about other countries, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment about which country you want the next video to be about.